Hello and welcome to this session in the Migrations series. Today's session is titled, How to Create a Business Case to Kickstart Your Migration. My name is Paul Wakeford and I'm a Solutions Architect working in the Migration Evaluator team, which is part of Migration Services at AWS. Here is our agenda for today. We will start with an introduction to the challenges many organizations experience when deciding to migrate, how Migration Evaluator can help, and where we are positioned in the migration journey. We'll go through the methods we have to gather inventory and the first deliverable, the Quick Insights report. Next, we'll look at the directional business case and the analytics viewer, additional deliverables that are available to you on request. Then we will look at how Migration Evaluator can help qualify you for AWS programs and incentives. And finally, we'll look at how you can request an assessment and the next steps in your migration journey. Let's start with an overview of the migration process and how Migration Evaluator can help you to make good migration decisions. Migrating to the cloud can have many reasons, but they all really boil down to money. You may want to migrate to AWS to increase your business agility, and increased agility means that you can develop and release products quickly, which is likely to earn you more money. Or you may merge with another company and ended up with duplication of services and servers. If you can identify and remove those duplicates, you can save money. You may have your own data centers that are coming to the end of their life and will need a big investment to get up to date. If you can avoid that investment and instead shut down those data centers, you can save money. But to get started on your migration journey, you need a business case. You need to be able to make a data-backed decision to migrate. So the question is, how do you gather that data? Do you know exactly how many servers you have running now? Do you know the specifications of all those servers? Do you know their utilization at their peak and at your quiet periods? Can you identify the costs for your individual applications? How about your different compute environments? Do you know the size and the cost of your benchmarking, UAT or DR environments at the moment, or how they would look migrated to AWS? This is data that you could try to capture manually on spreadsheets. You could export some point-in-time utilization data from your hypervisors, try to match them up to Amazon EC2 instance sizes, go server by server and build up your costs. But that's a laborious, time-consuming process, very prone to error. To solve this problem, AWS introduces Migration Evaluator. Migration Evaluator is a complementary service offered by AWS. A Migration Evaluator Solutions Architect is assigned to each engagement to assist customers throughout the engagement lifecycle. Migration Evaluator offers an agentless collector to gather data or can work with existing data sources. And there are no time limits for our service, both during the data collection phase and for accessing the assessment results. Migration Evaluator simplifies an on-premises analysis of compute, local storage, memory, and Windows licenses. The algorithm determines the best fitting, lowest cost placement for each workload on Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud or Amazon EC2 instances at AWS. Migration Evaluator right-sizes workloads based on actual CPU and memory provisioning and usage. It helps eliminate overprovisioning and underused servers. Our algorithms are optimized to recommend the least expensive EC2 instances. The recommendations are based on the server's CPU usage, RAM usage, CPU processor age, operating system, and any required Microsoft SQL Server licenses. Server data can be gathered using the Migration Evaluator collector, or we can use existing data and ingest into our software. The service provides a Microsoft licensing analysis to identify opportunities for SQL core optimization. It can also build cost comparisons for bring your own license or BYOL model, dedicated host modeling, or license included options. We support x86 architecture and can gather data from VMware, Microsoft Hyper-V, and bare metal infrastructure. Migration Evaluator is a complementary service offered to all AWS customers and AWS partners. Rightsizing is important. With Migration Evaluator, we notice an average reduction of customers' costs on AWS of up to 50% compared to their on-premises costs. This is accomplished by finding the optimal lowest cost AWS option for each workload, combined with a Microsoft license analysis. We can identify the Microsoft workloads you have on premises and run a cost comparison between bringing the licenses for those workloads over to AWS using a BYOL model or using the license included options AWS offers. You can model different purchase options in real time. You can receive this data-driven directional business case early in your migration journey. So where does Migration Evaluator fit in the migration journey? We are positioned at the very beginning, in the assess phase. We don't require any agent to be installed on your servers. We don't look at processes running on your servers or query usernames or any of your data. So we have a very low bar to entry. After a Migration Evaluator assessment, when you are ready to mobilize, you can log into AWS Migration Hub within the AWS Management Console, and from here group servers into applications. You can, if you wish, choose to deploy additional application discovery service agents for more detailed monitoring of on-premises servers and for tracking their migration progress. You can also export the Migration Evaluator recommendations to a Cloud Endure blueprint, which pre-selects the target Amazon EC2 instance type and size based on historic use. AWS Migration Hub, AWS Application Discovery Service, and Cloud Endure are also complementary services. Your default deliverable is Quick Insights. Quick Insights provides customers with a one-page summary of their projected AWS costs and savings based on measured on-premises provisioning and utilization. If additional insights are needed, you can request a business case that includes an on-premises estimate and 2 future state modeling scenarios. Migration Evaluator factors the server provisioning, attached storage, power, software licensing for the OS into that on-premises cost estimate. We do not include employee costs, migration tooling, professional services, shared storage, or other software outside of the operating system. And finally, there is the Analytics Engine. This is a web-based console which allows you to view your on-premises infrastructure data and compare different AWS cost model scenarios, build your own scenarios, and see groupings of your infrastructure by environment or application. You can even drill all the way down into single servers to see their individual costs and specifications, export the data for detailed analysis, and more. Access to the Analytics Engine is available on request. In this section, we will look at the various methods of discovering inventory and gathering utilization data from your on-premises environment. We have 3 methods to gather data for an assessment. The first is our Agentless collector. This is a piece of Windows software that we supply to you for installation in your data center. This can gather data from VMware, Hyper-V, bare metal servers, and can perform SQL version detection. We can use existing data from your CMDB or other data source. Or we can use data from the AWS Application Discovery Service, or ADS, collector. Now let's look at each one of these in more detail. The Migration Evaluator Agentless Collector is a Windows software package that the customer or partner installs into the customer data center. The Migration Evaluator team will provide access to download the collector software within 24 hours of receiving a request, with installation taking on average under an hour. If the customer or partner has any questions while installing our software, we will assist as needed. We collect data for an initial 48-hour period, and all data is encrypted on collection and in transit. A quick insights report is generated at the end of the 48-hour collection period. Then, if requested, we can continue to collect data and produce a business case, and also provide access to our web-based analytics engine. The Migration Evaluator Agentless Collector is installed onto a new dedicated server running Windows Server 2012 R2 or above. The collector can be configured to automatically sync collected data to AWS, in which case we can easily confirm the scope of the collection and also monitor the health of the collection. Alternatively, we support a manual upload process via our secure management console. We collect service specifications and time series utilization data over a defined collection period, usually 14 days. We collect data from the host level for supported hypervisors using the hypervisor APIs for VMware and Hyper-V. For other hypervisors and for bare metal servers, we use industry standard SNMP or WMI to gather performance data. We can also gather Microsoft SQL Server version and edition data, which helps with Rightsizing license costs. The Migration Evaluator Collector adds no additional load to the host system or virtual machines, automatically detects provisioning for Windows bare metal machines, supports x86 architecture servers, can gather server data for Oracle and SAP workloads. However, it is highly recommended that domain subject matter experts are involved to help in these specific use cases, and does not support mainframes, Citrix, Solaris, AIX, or IBM Power Servers. If you have a desire to move fast, have complete and accurate data, and are willing to accept some assumptions that will potentially impact accuracy, then using existing data could be the correct course of action. If your data is incomplete, we can use industry average benchmarks to address gaps in the data, or we can consult with the account team and you for your preferred assumptions. Our team suggests using existing data if there are constraints for installing a collector. Examples of constraints include a difficult change control environment, an environment that is heavily locked down where security approvals are difficult to acquire, or an environment with complex or segmented networks. We provide a data import template for you to supply the data and also provide a secure management console to upload the data. After analysing the data, we provide the same deliverables as we do for a collector-based assessment. If you have a tool that can export server specifications and environment data, we can use it. This is the kind of information that is commonly stored in a configuration management database or CMDB. Our data import has some minimum required data points, shown here on the left, including the server name, number of CPUs, amount of memory and disk, OS, and the server type, VM or physical server. The more data that you can supply, the more accurate the assessment will be. For example, we can assume the type of CPU that is in use, or a CPU and server utilization figure, but if you are able to provide that extra data, it helps us make the matches we make into Amazon EC2 much more accurate. If you have partial data, perhaps you use a tool that has a per server fee, so you only use it to monitor your production servers, we can use our experience in doing thousands of these assessments and suggest values to fill those gaps. We could perhaps use a figure of 30% for CPU and 50% for memory utilization for development servers. Using your existing data is a great way to get really fast results, as there is no utilization collection period required. However, the accuracy of the match process will be slightly reduced if we have to assume utilization figures. A third source of data for gathering service specifications and utilization for a Migration Evaluator assessment is AWS Application Discovery Service, or ADS. ADS is a combination of an agentless VMware collector and an agent-based non-VMware collection method. ADS can perform application dependency mapping, and at the end of the assessment, the same Migration Evaluator deliverables are available. Application Discovery Service supports 3 ways to collect data. First, there is the agent-based discovery, which can be performed on any virtual machine or physical server that is part of your on-premises environment, whether it is Windows or Linux. The agent is deployed on each virtual machine or physical server separately and supports all major Linux and Windows versions. The second method is the Agentless Discovery Connector, designed for VMware environments. This is deployed on a VMware host and collects data from each VM server. Agentless Discovery is OS agnostic and is able to read data for any VM irrespective of the OS. Agentless Discovery does collect less information than agent-based collection, however. And the third option is to import from existing data sources. You are also able to import any data that you may already have, such as data from your CMDB or ServiceNow data, or that you may have already collected using a partner tool, such as Risk Networks. Data from all the sources is visible directly in the AWS Migration Hub console, as well as via an API or an export file, and can be analysed by Migration Evaluator to produce a business case and an analytics engine. For data collected with agent-based discovery, data can also be automatically exported directly to Amazon Athena, where it can be queried directly or visualized using Amazon QuickSight. Using Amazon QuickSight provides you with the flexibility to analyze the data, to view network dependencies between servers, and identify processes that are running on a given server. Migration Evaluator results can be enhanced using server annotations. Environment and application annotations can be used to group servers together, which can allow us to build different cost models for different environments. For example, a test environment may only be used for 40 hours per week while testing is taking place, and may be more suited to an on-demand cost model. Production servers are more likely to run 24/7 by 365 and are more suited to a reserved instances plan. Another option, when using the ADS data collection method, is to annotate servers within the AWS Migration Hub. These annotations are then imported into the Migration Evaluator assessment. Server annotations are optional, but they do enhance the deliverables, and we recommend adding them when possible. Another type of server annotation is licensing data. If you have existing Microsoft licenses that are eligible to bring over to AWS, we can model scenarios that include dedicated hosts and so remove the need to repurchase licenses. Please do let us know if you have a Microsoft agreement. We have licensing specialists who can help you choose the best way forward for your Microsoft workloads. Next, let's take a look at our newest deliverable, the Quick Insights report. Customers told us that while they love the results of a Migration Evaluator assessment, sometimes they just wanted a very quick overview of their on-premises infrastructure based on a small amount of collected utilization data. To help those customers, we have launched Quick Insights. Quick Insights is a report that is generated very quickly, 24 to 48 hours after installation of our collector software. It confirms the number of on-premises servers under collection, which helps you to know if you are qualified for AWS programs such as the Migration Acceleration Program, or MAP, and Optimization and Licensing Assessment, or OLA. It also confirms that we are collecting from the full server scope and, for example, a data center has not been omitted. And of course, you can choose to continue with collection and receive a full business case. Migration Evaluator's Quick Insights report includes the number of virtual and physical servers being monitored and the associated attached block storage, the peak CPU and memory utilization, an AWS cost estimate based on Rightsizing workloads, and a percentage savings over directly matching the on-premises servers and storage. If at installation the customer configures rCollector to automatically detect any SQL Server installation, this will also be included in the report. The percentage savings identified is based on a comparison of the direct match cost to the right-sized match. Direct match is an unoptimized lift and shift migration pattern where a customer uses Amazon EC2 instances that are as close as possible to their current on-premises server specifications. A direct match estimate ignores all utilization patterns for optimization, so at times this cost can be higher than an on-premises cost, as the customer will continue to be over-provisioned. The right size cost model shows the least expensive Amazon EC2 instances based on the server CPU utilization, RAM utilization, age of CPU processor, operating system, and any required Microsoft licenses. The Quick Insights report is generated after each collector data sync. By default, the collector will upload the collected inventory and utilization to AWS each day at 2 AM local time for the customer. The IT administrator installing the collector may also manually initiate a sync via the collector UI. Quick Insights is available when using the Migration Evaluator Agentless collector or when using existing customer data. When using existing customer data, it must be provided in our data import template. Quick Insights results are provided within the Migration Evaluator console. Next, let's look at the additional optional Migration Evaluator deliverables, the analytics engine, and the directional business case. The analytics engine is a web-based viewer which allows you to dig deeper into your migration assessment. You can examine costs by different facets, such as by operating system or by hypervisor host. If server annotations were supplied, you can view costs by environment or application groupings. You can view the server utilization we recorded and which servers are idle or completely unused. You can examine the cost models created by Migration Evaluator and create your own cost models, including BYOL options. And all of this data can be exported for further analysis if required. The analytics engine is available on request at the end of your assessment. There is no time limit for accessing your assessment results in the analytics engine. The directional business case is also available on request at the end of your assessment. It includes an overview of the scope of the assessment, a breakdown of server utilization, an on-premises estimate of your current costs, and one or more cost models for migrating your workloads to Amazon EC2. Depending on the scope of your assessment, you may also receive additional pages with data on migrating VMware workloads to VMC, migrating non-production servers to Amazon EC2 Spot instances, and using Cloud Endure to migrate servers quickly and easily. Next, we will look at AWS programs and incentives for which Migration Evaluator can identify you as qualified. MAP offers a package of AWS Partner and AWS Professional Services consulting support, training benefits, and investment. This investment is in the form of AWS Cloud credits or partner cash to support the customer's migration journey. To qualify for MAP, the customer must have incremental annual recurring revenue, or ARR, from migrated workloads exceeding $1 million or $500,000 in select markets or segments. AWS OLA qualifies customers for additional incentives for Windows workloads and provides access to specialists for a consultation on an appropriate licensing approach. Migration Evaluator is the first step in the AWS OLA and MAP programs. Running a Migration Evaluator assessment provides data that confirms whether a customer will qualify for these programs. Now you know how Migration Evaluator can kickstart your migration business case. So how do you get started with an assessment? Let's take a look. There are two ways that you can request a Migration Evaluator assessment for your environment: through your AWS account manager or through our customer-facing landing page. The landing page also contains additional material about Migration Evaluator, such as our installation documentation, an installation video, and frequently asked questions. If you'd like to speak to a Migration Evaluator team member, please email migration-evaluator@amazon.com. Thank you for attending this session on how to create a business case to kickstart your migration. Please stay with us for a Q&A with Chris Kavanagh, Solutions Architect with Migration Evaluator.